Okay. So you hear him more than you actually see him, but for the few times you do, you may have noticed that Simon Preston, our colleague, is looking a little differently. He joins us on Zoom to tell us how he shed 116 pounds in a year. I think I must call him Sir Simon. Sir Simon, morning, sir.
Good morning, Neville. Good morning, Simone. Hope you both are doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Preston, what's going on?
I was gonna say you get so skinny, me never see you at all. We cannot see you. You started with how much? You were at what weight when you decided that you wanted to lose some pounds?
I was 296 on June 7 last year, so that was the beginning of the Women's World Cup that we both were part of as host and analyst combined. And at that point in time, I wanted to make a difference in terms of the way that I looked. And as a media practitioner on both platforms for radio and television, I thought that this would help me long term whenever I get future opportunities, especially for television and also for presenting, the breathing. So I think long term, it's a decision that I think will certainly bring the fruits of the labor down the road.
As a younger person, growing up, what kind of weight you had? Were you overweight? Were you all right? Or how did you get to 296?
Growing up, I was always a big individual, not only in height in terms of being a tall person, but I was bulky. My diet was filled with a lot of carbohydrates, bread, rice, cereal, especially pasta, which is one of my favorite sorts of dishes. And as we know, carbohydrates turns to sugars immediately once it's in the body. So for the bulk of my youth, that was what was part of my diet. And that was the first change that I made in June last year. So from that adjustment, removing carbohydrates from my diet, my body started to use the stored fats from the body for energy. Mm-hmm. And by just engaging in protein and vegetables, then the weight just started to go at an average of 9.5 pounds a month.
So Preston, what prompted the move in June of last year? Why did you decide it was just time to start trying to shed the weight?
I wasn't particularly happy with the way that I looked, and especially when you go into clothing stores and they don't have a particular size shirt or a particular waist pants that you wear, it feels unusual, and you say to yourself, well, a change has to be made there. Although we know about custom-made items and those elements, I just personally felt that it was time for that sort of adjustment so that long-term I don't face any other health consequences.
Right.
So that was the big reason for that sort of adjustment.
And so you decided to start with keto, and then you went to the OMD. So talk me through first what keto is. Did you learn about it yourself? Did you have a coach? And then after keto, how did you move to the OMD? I'm really fascinated to see that you lost so much so fast, and there may be people watching who want to emulate what you did. So talk us through.
Yeah, so with keto, what happened was it was a number of videos on YouTube that I was following in terms of the specific items that you would eat. So for example, the proteins, the chickens, the fish, eggs, tuna, salmon, those were more regular part of my sort of diet. And where vegetables are concerned, broccoli, lettuce, pak choy, a lot of green sorts of vegetables. So those were the elements that I chose. So it was June last year that I started keto, but at the same time I was practicing intermittent fasting. So I was eating 2 meals a day. So I would eat in an 8-window period, and for the other 16 hours for the day, I didn't consume anything. The only thing would be water, which has 0 calories. So it's a form of fasting. And it was down November 2019 that I began the Ouma Diet, which is short for 1 meal a day. So that was a process where things really started to intensify in terms of the weight loss progress, and started to change my wardrobe a little. And, the shirt size, starting to get bigger. And then the pants, you have to tighten the belt a little bit more.
Yes.
So
and that's motivation, right? When it starts to happen, you're like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that was just a massive turnaround for me. I must say that at that point in time, I said, you know what, this is really something that is working out quite well for me. And I could see the progress, I could see the improvements. I must give a lot of thanks though for my mother, for in terms of the meal preparations that has been put in place. I would tell her exactly the sorts of dishes and the sorts of meal plans that I want in place, and to prepare the majority of what exactly that I'm eating. I prepare some, yes, but the majority has come through her in terms of the dedication, the hard work, and the meal preparation. So that has been the major influence in terms of the weight loss progress.
What about from for the folks who are watching who hear you say you went on keto, you cut out the carbs, you went to proteins, you went to veg, and then you went to OMAD, and people are saying, but is that healthy?
It is healthy because it is still a form of intermittent fasting, even though it's just for a longer stretch, 23 hours of fasting and 1 hour of eating. There are longer term benefits scientifically that have been proven from this sort of method as well. It proves that you also sleep easy at nights, less stress. And also there's a few sorts of elements that shows that there's elements that it can also be in terms of cancer deference, in terms of you can avoid certain long-term illnesses down the road. So preliminary progress so far where that is concerned. For me, in terms of side effects or challenges, other than the first week where I felt mentally drained, after that, my body just started to get into another momentum, another phase, and I was able to manage. So I would say just the first 7 days would be the most difficult for somebody that is trying to start the progress. But after that, your body gets into a rhythm and you'll be able to manage whatever you're putting into it.
What time do you eat?
I eat 3 or 4 o'clock every day. However, if I'm working the evening shift at work, then I would eat at 9 o'clock. So sometimes I would go 30 hours without a meal, sometimes 28, 26, yeah.
So what do you do until 3 o'clock? You get up, what time you get up in the morning?
So let's say I'm working an evening shift at like 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. I would get up by 9:30. I would have 2 glasses of water. I shower, I jump in the... put on my clothes, I head to work, and then I would eat like I did yesterday at 9 o'clock in the evening. If it's the morning shift where it's 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., then by the time I get home at 3:30 thereabouts, I shower, I eat my dinner at 4 o'clock. So those are the sorts of time spans.
But hang on, sorry to jump in, but you say you have 2 glasses of water, and that's it until you eat at 9 o'clock?
You can have coffee, right? You have coffee or tea?
You can have coffee or tea just without the sweetener or sugar.
Yeah, you can have heavy cream. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Precisely.
We have to go, Simon. What about exercise? Because I know it's not just the diet that took that down. What kind of exercise you do? How often you do that?
When I started June last year, it was strictly once a week football. But currently what I do jogging twice a week, and I also incorporate football on the weekend. So right now it's 3 days of exercise for the week. But I must say the bulk of the weight loss has come specifically.
So you've not been to a gym?
No, I have not been to a gym in over a year.
That's the thing with keto and OMAD is it's really 70% what you eat and 30% exercise. One more thing, Simon, before you go. Yes, we hear about the food, but this is really about willpower, isn't it? Because you have to be strong in your mind to be able to do what you do.
Yes, the key for me has been reminding myself every day why I started the process, because every day is not easy. It's not a simple process. So for me, I'm reminding myself, why did I start in the beginning? What is the end goal at the end of the day? And the mountain at the end for me is to be a proficient and efficient television and radio broadcaster. So I think these elements that come together will help me long term in the process, with your help, of course.
Watch me, the student, you know? I'm just listening, I'm sitting here looking at you, I'm like, man, this is why I do.
Fantastic, my friend.
You sound good, guys.
Fantastic,
proud of you.
Fantastic. Excellent work. You're a motivation for all of us. And so you continue this, but I know that you said you wanted 5 more pounds, to lose 5 more pounds?
Yes, that's the goal. I wanted to finish at 175, so that's what I'm currently
working on. What's so specific
on,
about 175 as opposed to 180?
It's a target, sir.
Yeah, but I just want to know why. What's specific?
175 would help me to get into the waist pants that I want, which is 34 waist. I'm currently 36 waist, so 34 waist is the goal.
34 waist.
Keep it going,
my friend.
Preston. Good
Great
job.
to see you. Fantastic, and congrats, and keep doing what you're doing. All right, it will work out for you. All right, there goes. Our colleague here, our sports journalist, Simon Preston.